So I wanted to come on here, like I was trying to do earlier before the phone rang, and give you a little bit of a review of Metamorphosed to Malleability, the 272nd chapter slash shift called Mixing Saturation. Now, these previous chapters, have mainly been filler. They've basically been used to have Briella, along with Crystal's help, showcase to Briella's longtime BFF, Alanie, of what she's able to do, like how far she's come, to the point that she can pretty much almost to a T mimic, not just everyday appliances, but things like laptops and phones and stuff like that, as well as be able to store them within her, depending on the size and capacity for later on. Basically, make herself into a mobile lab that, travels on 2 feet or slithers around as a puddle of goo or whatever. Anyway, this chapter here is just, Crystal and Briella. It's after Alanie leaves, and they decide to have a little fun by bringing out a egg beater or mixing beater, if you will, and using it on Briella. Basically, Crystal is using it on Briella, and it's kind of a test, if you will, because normally in past chapters and shifts, sometimes one-offs and everything, when Crystal would do this, basically Briella would get so into it that she would literally turn to goo. And then she would, fall onto the splash off. Well, I wouldn't say fall, but she would splash down onto the ground, and then maybe sometimes slither up, onto Crystal and envelop her completely, to the point that she's getting into the moment, if you know what I mean. She's getting into the moment, and she's telling Briella when this has happened. It does not happen here. It does not happen here in this shift in chapter, but it's happened in previous ones where. When they get into this kind of a mood and Briella melts down into goo from something like, a mixer being applied to her and everything, and she splashes onto the ground and it flows towards and up onto Crystal, Crystal will basically get into, an arousal as well, or get more aroused than she already is from the little playing that she's doing to Briella, that she'll tell Briella as she's, crawling onto her or slithering up on her as goo, to cover all of her, basically every inch of her in Briella. So that way they can have true intimacy, if you know what I mean. But that doesn't happen here. Like I said, basically they're doing this not only to kind of have a little fun with each other, but to also test out Briella's strength. Like how long can she keep her solid human appearance while having something like this applied to her. And she actually does a very good job until the end, when Crystal starts to really apply more pressure with the mixer, and it gets to the point that it's just enough at the end where Briella's like, okay, well not Briella, but both Briella and Crystal both kind of seductively, essentially in their own way, agree that okay, that's enough. I think the point's been proven. She's able to keep her, human appearance, under this kind of pressure. And then she just decides, let's let loose. And, Crystal starts massaging her on the other side of her body, because because the way she massages her is, of course, like with a regular massager, you're laying on your stomach. So that's how she starts out. And then when they pretty much confirm, okay, we're good here, we've tested this ability, they start to have a little bit more fun and start to, do the other side. And that's when Briella decides to just let loose and literally melt into goo, to the point that she has to make herself a makeshift bowl to kind of fall into. Because when she melts, like I said, she melts and falls into the ground. So she makes part of herself into a makeshift bowl that allows her to just collectively melt into it, after all the sensations are, pretty much gone. And it's here to where she gets such into an euphoric state because of this, that, Crystal, again, you can tell she's getting a little off by it. Crystal basically looks down at her and to ask her if she could try to solidify just a little bit so she can carry her back to the bedroom. And all you get from Briella as a response is a little and, as it's described, as her way of answering, sure, no problem, or I'll try, because of the euphoricness she's in. But she's able to do it, and Crystal is able to carefully take her back to the bedroom, where she goes over to her regular bowl. Her regular bowl actually is under the bed, so she has to pull it out. It's a special bowl container, I guess. And basically, she places Briella over the bowl and just lets Briella dissolve, disintegrate, or degenerate, if you will, back into full-on goo in the bowl. And then she just puts her on top of the table next to the bed, the counter, the little table next to the bed. And stirs her finger inside Briella just a little bit, and then goes to sleep. Basically, they go to sleep for that night. So overall, like I said, just getting some coffee there. It's just a filler up. It's just a filler chapter and shift. I'm sure as we get close to 275, things are going to pick up. Now, I don't know what's going to happen as we hit to 275. I don't know if that's when things get really dramatic, maybe, or auspicious with certain characters and stuff. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure of that. And I do apologize for that. Somebody's car alarm went off. But again, I'm not sure what, Desi Arts, Michelle has a plan for 275. But it seems that we're getting closer to Briella accepting the role as a senior researcher and having that meeting with that one girl and everything. But there's still some things that still have to be answered, obviously. And again, I think there's more to what's going on than what's being let on, if you will. Like, I think Briella, she's willing to accept this job, but she's also being careful. Like, she's going to be careful wanting to talk to this woman, but she also knows that there's something about this woman that kind of is a little off. Like, why does she know certain things that people like Duncan should know, but is being kept from, if you know what I mean. So overall, though, like I said, I liked this. I like this. I like these filler shifts that she's done, chapters that Desi Arts has done. And again, as we approach more to 275, I think things are going to pick up. How much they will pick up, we'll have to see. Again, I'm sure one of them is going to be where she becomes senior researcher. But again, to me, there's something more to the situation. And I think in story, there are little hints. There are little hints here and there that Desi Arts puts in there that kind of gives you the idea that Ilani, not just Briella, but Crystal, Ilani, the people that are, the people of the series Genesis that are trying to, win, not trying to, but have and have proven to be worthy of Briella's trust. You can kind of see there's little hints here and there. Well, all of them, even like I said, even the people at Series Genesis, like Duncan and Greta and whoever, are kind of suspicious about what's going on with this one lady. Like they feel there's something going on that she's not telling them. And, I think it's going to make things very interesting as we approach 275 and everything, and then 300. I mean, 275 is like in 3 weeks. So that's what? Let's see. 31st. So see, she put this out the 28th. Usually she'll try to put this out, on a Thursday, which would have been the 26th and everything. But, not 26th, but the 27th. She likes to try to put it out on a Thursday, like on the 27th. So if we look at that from perspective, like today's the 30th, tomorrow's the 31st, the 1st is a Tuesday, the 2nd is Wednesday, the 3rd, by the time we get to the 3rd, between the 3rd and the 5th of August, that's when 275 will be out. And then about the 10th to the 12th is when, not 275. I'm sorry, somebody's alarm went off again. But like I said, by the time we get to the 3rd and the 5th of this week, for August, we'll have 273. And then by the time we get to 274, which would be the 10th and the 12th, that'll be 274. And then 275 should be between the 17th and the 19th, basically my niece's birthday and so on. So a little before my mom goes back to work, if you will, that we should get the 275th shift. Again, whatever it's going to be, whatever it's going to, be built to, we'll have to see. She might even just do a one-off for the 275. Like, hey, I want to, like, maybe she's going to want to build to something climactic for 300. So she'll just use, 275 as a one-off to do something between Crystal and Briella. Who knows? But we'll see. We'll see what she has planned. Again, I still feel that there's something going on. Like, Alania breaking off with her boyfriend Victor. Like, why would she break off with him when it seemed like they were the perfect match for each other? There's something there. There's something that we don't know of that she may have found out, but she doesn't want to say to Briella because it might upset her, because it might have to deal with something, or it might have to deal with what's going on. And I also still believe that Crystal's going to get powers similar, if not identical, to Briella, when it's all said and done. And I think when that moment comes, Desiart's going to go all out with them really getting into each other, if you know what I mean. But overall, like I said, I thought this was a nice filler. And that's all I'm going to really say on it, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. Super chats are open in the live chat. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. But you also donate with the super thanks, as well as check out my Teespring store. Also check out BW Rose's Discussions, all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. But more specifically, check me out at Spotify. The more you help me out at Spotify, the more it opens up the ambassador ads. And financially, that will be a big help in the long run. But that's all I'm going to really say, guys. Also check me out at patreon.com. And until then, I'm out.